beautiful, Holly. Thank you so much. You know, this is the time where we start thinking about the garden when I see how sunny and nice it is where she is. So, of course, it is that time to ask the garden guy, our garden expert, Derek Thomas with Thomas Landscapes. Been getting viewer questions about pruning, preservation, and peonies, answering those for us this morning. You know, this is kind of that transition time.
Yeah,
there's things to do, and you don't know exactly when to do it. So.
There's things to do. And the other thing, Sarah, it's been a really, really tough year for plants. And a lot of these questions are focused in on that because I tell you what, you know, everything from our peonies to our cone flowers to our crepe myrtles have had a really, really tough go at it. We're seeing a lot of, you know, trees that are starting to die unexpectedly because now we've gone into dry season.
Oh, wow.
So these questions were some really, really good ones. The first one is from Everett.
Everett from Silver Spring.
From Silver Spring.
Yeah.
And he's talking about crepe myrtles. And what he's noticed is that his crepe myrtles look like this. And these are not flower buds. These are actually seed pods that are forming. But his neighbors are looking more like this. They have these really great blooms that are starting to open. And if you look back a little bit further and you look at the difference in the leaves here, this plant is going into dormancy because it's done blooming. What his neighbor most likely did was pruned this plant late in the season. Maybe late May, early June. What that did was it gave the crepe myrtle a response to grow and then bloom. So the crepe myrtle's blooming now. Don't prune your crepe myrtles now, because the other part of his question was, could he prune the crepe myrtles now and expect blooms later on? It's too late to prune the crepe myrtles at this point. Let them go dormant. And if you need to do any pruning next year and want to stagger that pruning, you can prune out every other limb a little bit lower. And what that'll do is it'll have a staggered bloom.
Oh, interesting way to do it. Okay, let's get to the next one. Faye from Capitol Hill writes, my peonies that are a family heirloom plant are covered with a white substance. She's wondering, are they going to die? But you said this is something that's happening in peonies around the area right now.
If you take a look at peonies around the area, even at peonies in some of the more noteworthy gardens, and I would dare to say, if you went down on the mall and looked at the Smithsonian's peonies, they probably have it too.
Wow.
What happened was June was extremely, extremely wet. It was the perfect storm for growing this fungus, which is powdery mildew. Now, the thing about a peony, people want to go in and they want to spray a fungicide, and garden centers may recommend that you do that. You don't want to do that this time of the year. Here's why. I don't advocate any use of additional chemicals that don't need to be used. The peonies are going dormant. I've just cut away all that foliage. If you look down here, you can actually see next year's buds.
It's like a little purplish
It's like a little purplish bud. The peonies have done all of the collecting of food source that they needed to make their roots ready for the fall. Go ahead and get rid of that. Clean up any extra leaves around the area and remove that, and you'll be good to go for next spring.
Okay, real quick, we have one from Mary from Northwest DC.
Right, and it's all about her dogwood dying, but let me tell you what's happening. All deciduous trees this year are looking really, really bad. Either they look like they're really, really in need of a drink, which this one does, or dead. And what's happened is the excessive moisture this June mixed with really dry temperatures in the last month, the trees are really having a tough go at it. Don't think that you're overwatering this tree. This tree actually needs additional water at this point. And for some reason, dogwoods, ornamental maples, things like that have taken it really, really tough. Just be kind to them, maybe put a little bit extra mulch on the bottom, and let's see what happens once we get into fall.
Okay. Fall, the best time of year, though, because then that's when
I know, right?
I love it.
We love fall, right?
It's the best, and the mums come out and all that stuff.
We've got some neat segments coming up. Follow me on Twitter at Thomas Garden Guy, and you know, keep sending the questions into the station. We'll keep giving you the Ask the Garden Guy.
Because we have someone in here that works here that said, I have a question about crepe myrtles.
And everybody's asking. A perfect question for later on.
Because everybody else has the same questions right now, so it's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, Derek. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah.
Allison.